Hi, I'm Charlotte.
My dream is to let my kids wean on their own when they're ready.
If you watched my recent episode of My Strange Addiction, you heard the phrase breastfeeding addiction used to describe my story. I want to begin by saying this. I fully understand the premise of the show when I agreed to participate, and I'm genuinely grateful for the opportunity to be a part of a larger conversation. The word addiction was part of the show's framing, not a medical diagnosis. Television episode is only a snapshot. It can't hold all the nuance, context, or education that exists around breastfeeding, especially extended breastfeeding. Some of the conversations that happen during the filming simply don't make the final cut, which is completely understandable in a TV format. This video isn't a rebuttal against TLC, it's an expansion. It's a chance to add context, education, and support to a topic that's often reduced to shock value.
Kind of paint a bigger picture about what are the benefits of extended breastfeeding.
Today I'm joined by Emily, an IBCLC, who has supported me throughout my breastfeeding journey. Emily's guidance over the years has been thoughtful, evidence-based, and incredibly supportive, not just to me, but to countless other families. Her role in this conversation is important because it reflects what was actually happening behind the scenes. Informed support, not concern. This video reflects my personal experience and an educational discussion. I respect TLC's creative process and the agreements that I signed, and this is not a critique of the network or the show. It's simply a continuation of a conversation that deserves more depth than a single episode can provide. Together, Emily and I want to talk about why breastfeeding beyond infancy exists, why it's supported in many parts of the world, and why mothers deserve support, not judgment. Whether you breastfed for weeks, years, or not at all, mothers deserve support, not suspicion. Hi, thanks for being here.
Absolutely, I'm glad we are.
Emily Maize here is the wonderful lactation consultant that was also interviewed in the show. We wanted to just continue the conversation.
Absolutely.
And some light to maybe some things that were edited out that would be of benefit for somebody to hear.
Yeah.
And we're gonna watch it and then give you our feedback.
Should be fun.
I do worry about being able to keep up my milk supply, and today I'm meeting with a lactation consultant to make sure I'm doing everything I can to keep myself going so I can continue to produce that liquid gold for my kids.
Welcome in.
Thank you.
Okay, tell me about your breastfeeding relationship with your kids.
Well, we are still breastfeeding. We've been going strong now, nearly 7 years total. I've always been wanting to make sure I'm up on my iron and my ferritin levels, make sure that all those levels are good. My dream was to be able to sustain my own desire to breastfeed until they were ready to stop, or look into other ways to supplement myself.
Breastfeeding really is taxing, both emotionally and physically, especially when you have an older child. I know culturally, we are not all that used to seeing people breastfeeding toddlers and beyond. It's not the norm to see somebody feeding an older child or a toddler even, but breastfeeding is definitely about an attachment and a connection with parent and child, and that can be hard to break. Do you feel like you and your husband are on the same page with it?
Yeah, that ebbs and flows sometimes, but right now, absolutely, and it's been this way for a while.
Okay. Do you have plans when you would like to stop, or is there a stopping point that you have envisioned?
At this point, no. I don't think there's any harm in maybe nursing an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old.
I don't think anybody wants to imagine their children breastfeeding into adulthood. So at some point, we know as parents there must be a stopping place. And for children who don't want to stop breastfeeding, they may just know this one way to soothe themselves. And having more tools in order to cope makes for a more healthy individual as they grow up. And what if it extended into, double digits? Do you have any, is there any point at which you feel like it is too old?
I'll reassess as things happen, but I love that I don't have to make a decision now. We can just see how it goes. I don't have to have a hard stop.
The body does need energy as well as extra calories in a day to be able to make the milk and still keep you healthy. So continue to keep track on your own health and your own self-care to make sure that your body is getting what it needs so that it can provide for the others.
My dream is to let my kids wean on their own when they're ready. I do know that that time is coming, but as far as I am now, I don't have a plan to stop.
All right, I have so many thoughts. That's based on like watching that and knowing what we actually, how much time we spent, all the conversations that we have. It's so fascinating to me to watch this and see how it's like clipped down into a whatever 2-minute bit, how it can look when there's like pieces and sliced and put together. I mean, everything obviously that we said there, we said. They left out really kind of paint a bigger picture about what are the benefits of extended breastfeeding, the brain development, cognitive boost, the immune system boost, the lower rates of childhood obesity because breastfeeding can help regulate appetite control, things like that in kids. Those are benefits that you're giving to your children that don't have like an age limit. Attachment parenting, it gives kids that confidence. There was a 2011 study. Longer durations of breastfeeding actually correlated with less behavior problems in children as they got 5, 6, 7 years old. So I think that really speaks to ability to kind of just parent in a meaningful and mindful way.
Benefits for the mom. Both my parents died of cancer, so it's nice to know that I reduced the chances of at least breast cancer and ovarian cancer by continuing to breastfeed.
According to like the American Academy of Pediatrics and WHO, worldwide is if children were able to breastfeed until they wean themselves, like if it was all completely up to children, the average age of weaning is 5 to 7. And even the recommendations up to 2 years and beyond. I mean, it's there in the wording for the WHO and recommendations.
Beyond.
And beyond, as long as it is mutually beneficial to both parties. I think is one big like education piece that I wish was included so that it's not framed as completely out of the norm in an unhealthy way. Like,
kind of showed you in a light of concern, and I'm curious, are you concerned about my choices?
No. I think like Charlotte, what you are doing is called attachment parenting, and attachment parenting is about meeting your kids' emotional and physical needs in the moment, respecting them as human beings that have variety of needs, and knowing what those are and responding to them, which just builds trust, it builds confidence in kids, it builds humans that are able to figure out how to regulate their emotions and what those are. I mean, I'm a big fan, and the fact that you don't force your children to breastfeed tells me that it's not an addiction, it's a mutually beneficial, and there's no coercion, mutually consensual.
Well, as you know, I think it's important to update our viewers. I have stopped breastfeeding. My kids naturally weaned on their own. That was my goal. My son is 4, and he thought that his older sister may have drank it all, which I think is kind of cute.
I love how they rationalize things.
And my daughter, like, while they've checked to see if there's any more milk, they've accepted that there's no more. That's only happened maybe once a week, just to double check to make sure it's gone.
Because because it's their time to bond with you, and that breastfeeding is about more than just the milk, and that's what extended breastfeeding shows us, is that it's about attachment and bonding and closeness and those sorts of things.
I don't feel like I got any of the hormonal ups and downs myself, so I didn't feel the baby blues or whatever they call it, and neither did my kids. They had already learned emotional management through other ways to cope. I'm glad to hear that you didn't have a concern with how my kids were going to handle their emotions after.
There were lots of music choices, pauses that were added that I think sort of led the watcher to think that, but I don't, and I didn't then, and I don't now.
Okay, good.
One thing that doesn't get a lot of attention too is what it is like to wean at any age, but definitely when weaning is done and it's earlier than baby wants it to, that's also very hard. I don't think we give a lot of attention to that. And sometimes parents feel pressured to wean when baby's not ready and they're not ready, and that saddens me. And so I love that we get to have this conversation to support more parents to recognize that they don't have to if they don't want to.
Right. And that was my goal in doing this, is to help empower the mom to make her own decision, her own choice, not based on society.
Yeah. I support parents in the decisions they're making, no matter what those decisions are. Hard to watch it spun in a way that I felt like I was being very judgmental, and that is not the way that I want to present myself and myself as a lactation consultant. I respect parents' choices no matter what they are, the feeding choices, the parenting choices, and I'm here to help people meet their goals.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of that in our conversation also, which was really nice. And of course, it makes sense it didn't make it into the show. It's just a piece of it.
Well, you've always been a support to me in my journeys. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.